It's 71,000 square feet of indoor training facility nirvana. Leagues, events, camps, clinics. From Big Easy Sportsplex, 800 Webb Street in the Elmwood area, just off Earhart Expressway. Welcome to Louisiana Baseball. Just another night at the Big Easy Sportsplex, whether it's taking BP in the batting cage, a little volleyball practice, how about some softball, even some private lessons at the Big Easy Sportsplex, they got it all. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Louisiana Baseball. I'm Eric Ritchie. So glad you joined us. Stick around for the next 30 minutes as we again take a look at the college baseball scene around the state of Louisiana. A special inspiring message from a high school baseball player that always tells you to never give up, always persevere. We'll have that, plus we'll head to Lake Charles for our medical minute. But first of all, let's kick it over to Joey Cabaceres, one of the owners here at the Big Easy Sportsplex, as he gives personal lessons almost every day here at the Big Easy. Joey?
Yeah, it's kind of a typical night at Big Easy Sportsplex. We had a Shelby Wickersham who's already committed to pitch for LSU in one of the cages, getting her work in. We had people of all ages, you'll see in the footage, of taking hacks in some of the cages off some of the machines. We got the itty bitties running around, with the t-ball and the wiffle ball. A couple dads coming in with their kids throwing batting practice, and then volleyball in the background, and a couple teams working on things. And so it's just a real dynamic environment where you got some personal training going on, some performance training going on, and what's kind of neat is everybody's kind of connected when they come in here. And what you didn't see was upstairs, and people are in the fitness center working out, and so or in the golf lab doing their stuff. Eric, I'm going to be over here on the main field at Big Easy Sportsplex. I got some really special stuff for you tonight, so I'm going to throw it back to you. When you guys come back to me, I got some great stuff.
Joey, thanks. Let's kick it off with some college baseball and maybe the hottest team in the state. It's time now for the UL Report. The UL Lafayette Report is brought to you by AMG Specialty Hospital. The Ragin' Cajuns hosting Jackson State in a 3-game Sun Belt Conference series. It started on Saturday due to inclement weather. They played 2. That's an RBI single by Blake Trahan. It equals a school record as his hit streak moves to 23 games. 2 batters later, Stephon Trosclair, the Titanic blast. He continues his hot hitting. That's his 6th home run of the season, and the Cajuns are in control. Later, UL playing some small ball. Kyle Claymont with the bunt, but the throw is down the line. It would score a run. Evan Powell comes across to score. This one would go into extra innings. We're in the 11th now. Catcher Nick Thurman ropes a shot to right. That's going to score a run. Thurman was 2 for 5, knocked in 3, including that one, the game winner. The Ragin' Cajuns start the series with a 7-6 walk-off win in 11. Game 2 later that day, starting pitcher Greg Milhorn looked good early, but did not stick around long for this one. Trahan's school record-tying hit streak would come to an end in the second game of this doubleheader. The sac fly here would score a run. The Ragin' Cajuns sweep the first 2 games, winning 15-2. Game 3 now on Sunday, looking for the clean sweep of the series and to move their overall win streak to 6 straight. The Ragin' Cajuns did not score until the 7th, but then they busted out the whooping sticks. 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Evan Powell with the 2-run single. Later, Trahan steps to the plate. It's a suicide squeeze to perfection. Not only would 1 run score, but here comes Joe Robbins for a 2nd run on the suicide squeeze. The Ragin' Cajuns won the game 7-2 to sweep the series and to move their win streak to 6 straight. That streak was snapped on Tuesday with a 5-3 loss to Southeastern.
We'll need our veterans to hang on and keep helping these younger guys try to stay off the roller coaster ride, because that's what young players do. They get down when it's low and they get high when it's good, and then they stay on that roller coaster. We veterans don't do that. They don't get too low or too high. So it's a learning process.
The UL Lafayette Report is brought to you by AMG Specialty Hospital.
So ULL, one of the hotter teams in the state right now. They had a sweep at home against Jackson State. They won 3 games in 3 different ways, which is really a good sign of a team that can beat you from multiple angles. The kind of story here is that Blake Trahan, he ended his hitting streak at 23 games. Coincidentally, the hitting streak was held by Chris Webb from 1996, who I played against, and I think I contributed to a few of those games for him as a pitcher. So, Chris, you're welcome. And Blake, great job. Congratulations.
Joey, another team playing some solid baseball right now is Nicholls State. The Colonels dropped the opener of a 3-game Southland Conference set on the road against Central Arkansas and then responded in a big-time way, scoring 14 runs, accounting for 30 hits. Let's check in now with the Nicholls State Report. The Nicholls Report is brought to you by Ortho LA, Walters, Meyer, Trosclair and Associates, and by YKM Consulting.
Hey, this is the Nicholls Report. I'm Seth Thibodeau, head baseball coach at Nicholls State University. Proud to give you this week's segment and get you caught up with Nicholls baseball. After a big sweep, a big conference sweep on Easter weekend, we went on a 5-game road trip beginning over at Tulane. We lost a tough one on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday we go up to UL Monroe and win a big game there in 10 innings, which is always tough to do at ULM. Then go on a conference weekend over at Conway, Arkansas at Central Ark, which is always a tough place to play, and drop a tough one on Friday night, but my team responds right away with a big win on Saturday and a huge win on Sunday to win the series there, which is a tough place to play and a tough place to win series in the Southland Conference. And our guys swung the bats well, we pitched it well in moments, and then anytime you get a road series win in this league, it's huge for your program, which puts us about 2.5 games out of first place in the Southland Conference. So heading into the next week, we have a bye weekend this weekend, which is very odd for college baseball, but it gives our guys a chance to catch up a little bit academically, but it also puts us in a situation where we can take care of our bodies, recover. Our pitchers have a weekend off, so that's some less innings they have to throw right now going into the last month of the season, which is a stretch run for us. But really important that our position players get their legs underneath them, and really we can concentrate on getting some extra lift at this time of the year. Greg Carasquillo is our strength coach. Greg has been with the New York Jets. He's been with USC football. He's been with LSU. He's been with the Yankees. He comes from Springfield College in Massachusetts, which is known for some of the best strength coaches and the strength training programs around. So we're very fortunate to have Greg. He really hones in with our guys on their bodies and takes care of those guys. And that's why our guys tend to play better as the season goes, because they're in great shape.
I got into strength and conditioning a little bit because of the fact that when I was an athlete playing football in college, I got hurt. And to kind of stop myself from getting hurt again, I really wanted to take a time and understand it. So I went in, I researched, I did a lot. Got me really into the path of not only getting stronger, but how to prevent injuries, stop people from going through the same problems I did. The biggest thing that we do is we rotate around our schedule so that we have at least one day of break in between each game. But that one day of lifting is hard. You can see our guys going today. We got some squats, some bench, cleans. We try to get as many big core movements in out of the way as we can. This is one of the best teams I've had to work with. Nicholls, I've been here. All the teams are great, but what we strive to do with baseball specifically, the first thing we did was change the mentality as soon as I got here. So every time we come in the weight room, no matter what sport it is at Nicholls, we take it to the max. This team, hardworking, dedicated, focused, everything that you really look forward to a championship team, as we call it. So every time we come in, we have a great attitude, great preparation. We think that the foundation of our program is built here in the weight room and everything that we do. So our guys always have a good attitude coming in, and it really takes them to those Sunday weekend games and those Sunday games when it's the end and everyone's tired. You just played 30-something innings and we got to go. That 8th, 9th inning, the business innings of the Sunday game is really where we think that our strength and conditioning program really excels. And I think we showed that this weekend a little bit too. The most rewarding part for me is seeing guys advance a little bit on the field. That's what it all comes down to. We're not here to make bodybuilders. We're not here to make powerlifters. We're here to make better baseball players for these guys. And seeing those guys just have fun. Winning is fun for us. And when we're able to win, we're in shape. We can do what we want to do. That's what it all comes down to.
The Nicholls Report is brought to you by Ortho LA, Walters, Meyer, Trosclair and Associates, and by YKM Consulting.
So Nicholls State has a mountain of pitching led by Justin Sinibaldi. He's 7-1 right now with a 1.08 ERA. That's 4th best in the country. He's heading on the way to be an All-American. Really couldn't be prouder of a local kid, prepped over at Rummel High School, grew up in Metairie. They got a other kid, Ryan Deems, who's another outstanding arm. He's from Holy Cross High School. So a couple Catholic League kids really, turning it on at Nicholls State. They have an absolute staff. They have the other kid who's leading them in saves. So they're really going to be a tough team to beat with those pitchers. You're going to have to sit on a couple pitches and get lucky.
It's time for our first break here in Louisiana baseball. Later, we'll head to Lake Charles and check in with Dr. Brett Cassio with our Medical Minute. But when we return, we'll talk about Tulane and LSU. We're back after this. Louisiana baseball is brought to you by Big Easy Sportsplex, by Royal Honda, AMG Specialty Hospital, and by orthopedic specialist Dr. Brett Cassio.
Hi, I'm Greg Walter. I'm Tommy Meyer.
And I am Ray Trosclair. We are private wealth advisors with Ameriprise Financial. We believe that your success is not only measured by your financial well-being, but how confident you are about your future.
No matter what your financial dreams are, our mission is to help you reach your financial goals through a personal relationship based on knowledgeable advice.
Let our team at Walters, Meyer, Trosclair & Associates help you feel more confident about your financial future.
Giving you a great deal is what makes Royal Honda #1 in the greater New Orleans area. Visit us on Veterans in Metairie and RoyalHonda.com.
Royal Honda, the dealership that's different.
When it comes to you or a loved one facing a long-term stay in a hospital, there are other long-term acute care hospitals, and then there is AMG Specialty Hospital. AMG Specialty Hospital is a long-term acute care hospital known as an LTAC. We are designed to give care to patients who require an extended hospital stay. AMG Specialty Hospital focuses on putting our patients first, which is why 90% of our specialty hospital patients and their families would recommend us to others. Other LTACs will care for you. AMG Specialty Hospital will care about you. AMG is committed to delivering quality health care to our patients within the communities we serve. Go ahead, ask your doctor which LTAC hospital they would trust most for their own loved ones. If you're looking for a pretty hospital, they're out there. But if you're looking for the best long-term acute care hospital with great patient care, AMG is proudly serving 8 locations in Louisiana and 7 other locations within the United States. So when the best care is as close as this, there's absolutely no reason to go to any LTAC other than AMG's healthcare management for complex medical needs.
Shepherdina, which is a local Christian homeschool support group, has been around for about 30 years. And we help parents navigate the process of educating their kids at home. When parents are homeschooling their kids, typically there's not a lot for them to do from a socialization perspective. We have field trips, we have camping trips, we have graduations, and of course we have PE. So the message that we're trying to convey to parents all throughout the greater New Orleans area is that if the public school isn't working for you and private school is out of reach, you should check out the viability of home education. You can check us out at gnochristianhomeschooling.org.
Move weight forward. Good. Keep the hands tethered. Keep the hands tethered. Better.
All right, Joey, let's get to LSU now. We're another week and another #1 national ranking for the Tigers. Perfect Game has LSU ranked #1 in the country. Several of the other polls has the Tigers ranked 2nd in the nation. The Tigers are coming off a 4-1 week where they won the SEC series 2-1 against Auburn. But the big story there, Alex Lang, the freshman pitcher who's off to a 6-0 start, did not make his start on Saturday night. He felt stiffness in his shoulder. They shut him down, very similar to what happened to Aaron Nola earlier in his LSU career. Joey, I know Cade Savick is a guy who's also red hot at the plate, but some big concern right now with Alex Lang.
Yeah, Alex Lang, anytime you get a pitcher with shoulder stiffness, that's kind of a vague thing to put out there. They're going to handle him a little bit with kid gloves. I'm sure he's going to pitch a little bit against Georgia, but they'll figure it out. But whenever I hear that person, I hear shoulder stiffness, it tells me that there's probably something else going on in the lower half. The kid needs some type of rest, some type of day where you're going to recover. And I'm sure they got those guys on programs pre, during, and post throwing. So I don't think there's any alarms to be set off because that kid is on pace right now to also be, potentially an All-American, All-SEC. The other story there is Cade Savick. He's got, a 20-game hit streak going into the weekend. He's an absolute stud. So when you have that kind of hitting streak in the SEC against that kind of pitching, you can really hit.
All right, let's check in with Tulane now, where the Green Wave avoided the sweep at Houston when Alex Massey pitched a 2-hit complete game. Our focus this week is his battery mate. Jake Rogers, now a sophomore catcher for the Green Wave, has thrown out an amazing 24 of 37 would-be base stealers. It's time now for the Tulane Green Wave Report.
Hi, I'm Jake Rogers, catcher at Tulane University. I'm from Canyon, Texas.
You know, I always come out every day looking to work hard, and being a catcher, you know, you have to work hard. And I'm a workhorse, and I know that when people try to steal, I'm going to throw them out. I started catching around 10 years old, and it's the game doesn't really change much. They say, you know, you come out and you got to be loud, and you got to lead everybody.
The biggest thing is keeping your eye on the ball. When a pitcher, you got to keep your eye on the ball. Whatever pitch is coming, curveball, fastball, you got to keep your eye on it and catch it. And if it's in the dirt, you just got to square it up with your chest, block it, keep it in front. If a runner's going, so to say, if a runner's on, you're going to be in a different position. First, you have your just relaxed position when no one's on, when you don't really look to block or throw people out. And then you have your ready to throw position, and footwork to second base is simple. When you throw, you just want to get square to first base, get your arm up, glove out, and follow through to your throw and kind of follow it to second base. You want to be right here, be ready to throw, get your arm up, make sure you have a 4-seam grip so it'll be straight. I think the most challenging part is blocking. You have different pitches, you know, curveball off the dirt, it's going to bounce a different way than a fastball. And it's just all about smelling that pitch, and I think I struggle with that, and I need to work more on that. But I think what I excel at the most is receiving, being really good with a low pitch. Catching is a tough position. You have to come out every day and work hard. It's a dirty position. You have to be willing to get dirty in order to block balls, receive balls, and you got to be tough, as they say. The biggest part of it is toughness. When you come out, you got to be willing to wear a ball off the arm or wear a ball off the chest or the mask on a foul tip. You just got to be ready at all times.
Yeah, Jake Rogers is a stud. He's a catcher coming from Texas. He's thrown out, 24, 37. That's an absolute absurd number. And if you watch some of those games, it looks like some of those calls are missed, meaning he should have more. The funny thing about that, as a coach, I started thinking, well, why are we even running against this guy? You also want to give some credit to the staff. I'm sure those guys are doing a good job managing those runners, giving them a chance, but don't take anything away from that kid. He has an absolute cannon. He's got really good footwork. He's got a great release. You know, we do some catching instruction here, and I love, you know, I didn't catch, so I love going and listening to that stuff and how those guys manage all of it. The big thing with Tulane, though, is they're heading into the weekend. They got to play UCF. It is a must-win. They're dead last in their conference. They have to put some stuff together right now to make a run.
Giving you a great deal is what makes Royal Honda #1 in the greater New Orleans area. Visit us on Veterans in Metairie and RoyalHonda.com.
Royal Honda, the dealership that's different.
Chef Agino, which is a local Christian homeschool support group, has been around for about 30 years. And we help parents navigate the process of educating their kids at home. When parents are homeschooling their kids, typically there's not a lot for them to do from a socialization perspective. We have field trips, we have camping trips, we have graduations, and of course we have PE. So the message that we're trying to convey to parents all throughout the greater New Orleans area is that if the public school isn't working for you and private school is out of reach, you should check out the viability of home education. You can check us out at gnochristianhomeschooling.org.
And remember, when you buy from the appliance giant, you always get the best deal.
Tony Campo, the appliance giant, always told me if you want to sell appliances in this town, you got to offer the best name brands. That's why at Campo we offer lines like Thermador and Bosch. Right now, when you buy a Thermador cooktop, wall oven, or one of their beautiful ranges from Campo, I'll give you a Thermador dishwasher for free. Come to Campo today to see how we can take your kitchen to the next level when you buy local.
Back here at the Big Easy Sportsplex, I'm Eric Ritchie. It's Louisiana baseball, and baseball takes all kind of shapes and sizes and stories to get to where you want to go. And never giving up is certainly a part of the perseverance that makes up the game. Let's go back to Joey Cabaceres, who has a great story about one such pitcher for the Jesuit Blue Jays.
We have a great story here in New Orleans this year concerning baseball. A local product named David Bowe, who's a senior at Jesuit High School. We're sitting here with his dad, Stephen Bowe, and it's just an unbelievable story about perseverance, about not giving up. about finding your path, about creating your own path and seizing opportunities. So we're going to get kind of right into it and talk to his dad a little bit. Stephen, I'm going to walk through it. What was it like when you first got to Jesuit High School? Tell me about his path, about David's path at Jesuit.
Well, when he got to Jesuit, he was in with 40, 50, 60 kids who thought they were going to start every game. And he learned pretty quickly that you have to earn your way on the field. So 8th grade year, he kind of struggled and made the team as a 9th grader and struggled a little bit, but then started to see some glimmer of hope. He was working here with you, working with some of the trainers here, just trying to get himself in shape. And then when he reached his sophomore year for the JV, he really just blossomed. And I think he was probably the top starter on the JV. Certainly was given the ball in big games in district, and really just made the leap, I thought, from where he was to where he turned out to be after the JV season.
It's about this time last year, January 2014.
Right.
And, David's, I remember he was throwing anywhere from 82 to 85, maybe, 82, 84. He had good stuff. He had played on a little fall team. He had done some stuff. And he walked in the door and he said, "Dad, I got cut," right?
Yeah.
And look, let's be fair, Jesuit High School is one of the premier baseball programs in the country. So it's a very difficult spot. Tell us, just as a dad, where did we go from there?
Well, that was a tough one. He called me and told me what had happened, and I felt terrible. I felt terrible for him as his dad. I felt terrible for him because I knew how much work he had done. And but as we talked about it, I mean, Coach Latino had told David that you can either let this be the final answer in your career, or you can just decide that this is going to be something I'm going to work on. And so there's no quitting David, and we agreed that he'd keep working on it. And in fact, the night he got cut, we came out here and worked with you.
Yeah. When that happened, I remember my heart sunk too. But I've never been more proud of anybody who came back and said, "All right, I'm making the team next year and I'm going to contribute." And so tell us where we are today. Tell us what we look like today.
Well, he worked from last January to this January and kept working on his mechanics, kept working on his body, kept working on being a better pitcher. He worked. He played on the fall team. He got some innings, and he was lucky enough to make the team as a senior. And
Right.
so we're excited and proud of him. Frankly, proud of the whole team because it's a great group of kids and they work hard, and I'm just happy David's part of that team.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what's neat, we talked to David, I don't know, a couple days ago when you guys were in here just goofing off, and the first thing he says is, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, I'm trying to win a district title. I'm trying to win a state title." Like that's
Absolutely.
David Bowe, right?
Absolutely.
So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to cut it over and watch David in action. Now, this came back from December, a little while back before he was getting prepped up. So you'll see him doing some of the dynamic warm up and then him throwing a pen. So let's cut over to that right now. We'll show some of that footage.
Hi, my name's David Bowe. I'm a senior at Jesuit High School, and I'm a right-handed pitcher. What I'm going to be demonstrating is some drills to get warmed up and get in my rhythm. So the final arc drill, a decel drill with the smaller bands, and then a faster rhythm drill to get really a workout in before I throw. This one's the final arc drill. I'm doing it to really stretch, and before I throw, I have to do this to make sure I'm like really loose. All right, so these are arm circles. I'll do it to find my pattern. I'll start off slower and work my way to fast to get into rhythm and really get the arm going. So these line tamers are really going to focus on getting the scap into it and getting a full pinch before I throw pretty violently on the last couple. These are just a few of the drills I do before every time I throw and come in here at Big Easy. It just helps me really get loose and get my rhythm going. And like Coach Joe always talks about, it really gets my pattern going. And when I feel in rhythm, I'm really on my pitching game.
All right, so that was David Bowe in action. So if you're a college scout watching that, I mean, I don't know, if you're a pro scout watching that, those were anywhere 86 to 88. He had a nice hammer. You'll see some of that stuff come out of his hand well. He loves to drill. He loves to throw. He's kind of one of those throwing junkies. And I hate trying to sell anybody on him, but if you need a 6'3" righty that's 210 pounds that throws 88 miles an hour, there's one sitting at Jesuit waiting for you. But we're extremely proud to at Big Easy Sportsplex who have been part of this process, to have been here for someone who, you know, otherwise would have been cut and then said, well, I guess I'll just throw in the backyard with my dad. So, again, we couldn't be prouder of them. We're going to take a time right now and throw it over to Lake Charles to Dr. Brett Cassio, my former catcher at Jesuit High School. And he's going to talk a little bit about Little League Elbow.
Little League elbow is a stress on the growth plate on the inside of the elbow in young baseball players. And it's called Little League elbow because it happens so often in young baseball players before their growth plates fuse. So in older players, once the growth plates are fused, the stress of throwing is isolated on the ulnar collateral ligament or the Tommy John ligament. And those are the injuries we see later on in a career. But when the kids are young, before their growth plates fuse, the ligament is actually the stronger part of the inside of the elbow. The growth plate is actually the weak link in the chain. And so the growth plate actually starts to get a stress fracture in it. Well, the first thing we do is try a course of rest. And it all depends on when the player sees us and how far along in the disease process it is. If he's been throwing for several months and the elbow has just gotten worse and worse and he's taken ibuprofen just to make it through the games, well, that's a pretty severe case. If we take an x-ray and we already see a pretty big separation at the growth plate, that's a pretty severe case. We'd like to see the kids earlier than that so we can start a rest program earlier, and then the rest is probably going to be a shorter period of time, and then we get them back to playing more safely once that pain is gone. But they can't return to play before all the pain is gone and they're pain-free when they're throwing. Otherwise, it's just going to compound the problem.
And remember, when you buy from the appliance giant, you always get the best deal.
Tony Campo, the appliance giant, always told me if you want to sell appliances in this town, you got to offer the best name brands. That's why at Campo we offer lines like Thermador and Bosch. Right now, when you buy a Thermador cooktop, wall oven, or one of their beautiful ranges from Campo, I'll give you a Thermador dishwasher for free. Come to Campo today to see how we can take your kitchen to the next level when you buy local.
Giving you a great deal is what makes Royal Honda #1 in the greater New Orleans area. Visit us on Veterans in Metairie and RoyalHonda.com.
Royal Honda, the dealership that's different.
And remember, Royal Honda, it's the official vehicle of Richie on Sports. Just about to wrap things up here from the Big Easy on this week's edition of Louisiana Baseball, and we have to send props to a couple of local players who have made the show. First up, Johnny Giavitella. We talked about him on this show, the Jesuit and UNO player, now the opening day starter for the Los Angeles Angels, doing a fine job, had a big week, even had a 3-hit game in week 1. Then, out of Lafayette, the former LSU star, Mikey Matuk, got the call he's been waiting. Up to the Tampa Bay Rays, Mikey Matuk making his major league debut this past week. Congratulations to both players. Joey, I know that's a big call that both players received.
Yeah, it's always awesome to have, you know, some of these guys that are local products end up being on TV and in the big leagues and getting those shots. And, you know, I know Mikey Matuk personally, I know Giavitella personally, and, you know, Matuk sent out a tweet, you know, about his whole family, been waiting his whole life for this moment. So it's a special time for those guys. Giavitella actually has been murdering the ball since he got up there. I think he had 3 hits in one of the games, so he was in here working out before he left. So those are some great kids too. Matuk's done camps here. Giavitella's come in here and worked with kids. They give back to all those, you know, all the little guys as well. So again, couldn't happen to a bunch of better guys, and I hope nothing but the best for them.
Joey, thanks. That'll wrap up another edition of Louisiana Baseball from inside the Big Easy Sportsplex. I'm Eric Ritchie saying so long, everyone, and thanks for watching.